It's a busy week at Whiskey Brothers HQ. First, a brand new spoiler room. We're going to get into news about Guardians of the Galaxy, Kevin Smith's top 5. I'm going to walk you through what I hope they cover in Obi-Wan on Disney+. Make sure you hit subscribe, follow what we're up to. It's a brand new spoiler room right now.
Today we're tackling Cruella. It is the best non-Marvel flick I've ever seen, and that's my opinion. It's actually not my opinion. It was Slade Ham's opinion, and I stole it, but it's mine now. One of the coolest things about going into this flick is, Craig Gillespie directed it. Now, Craig Gillespie, he is the same dude that directed the flick I, Tonya, which took an intimate look at the life of Tonya Harding, if y'all remember her, and Nancy Kerrigan, and the kneecapping and whatnot, and tried to paint her as this sympathetic victim in her own life. I think maybe that's just Craig's forte. Maybe he's like one of these white knight dudes that can't get dates, so he just simps around to crazy girls, because he's done the same thing with Cruella. Painted this very sympathetic picture of this girl who's just a result of environmental damage and trauma done to her. I'm really looking forward to the new Casey Anthony biopic that I'm sure he'll be directing. I was mostly just excited that nobody asked Tim Burton to direct it, because they asked him to make all the things that I want to see, but I don't want to see him do anymore. So the movie's a fun ride without you having to care too much about it. You don't really care if they're making another movie, if they're not going to make another movie. You don't really have to care about anything. And, that seems to be Disney's model these days, just making you aware that they're just making a lot of movies. We're talking about it feeling like a Marvel flick, because you got your origin story, you got your bad guy, you got your villain, you got all this stuff going on. Plus, one of the coolest superhero cars that's ever been invented, the 1970 Panther DeVille. That thing is gorgeous, built off like a 1930 Bugatti. It's one of the sexiest cars I've ever seen in a movie. Why isn't Batman driving a Panther DeVille? Why is the new Batman driving this wore-out Camaro-looking Mad Max reject thing? Batman should have the Panther DeVille. Or you know what? Just stop making Batman movies, make more Cruella DeVille movies. The soundtrack's so much fun. I mean, this whole movie's like a Gen X super romp, right? It's got like this Hot Topic kind of dress code, plus the soundtrack is just Dad Rock 101. It's just this beautiful retro groove list that you could have a good time listening to it. And if you really want to take it a step further and you want to have some more fun with the movie, is you go and get yourself an edible, maybe smoke out, whatever it is you do to relax, and then go find Quadrophenia. And play Quadrophenia on your stereo really loud and turn the sound down on your TV and watch Cruella. It's way better than that whole Wizard of Oz Pink Floyd crap. You got like kind of this mod scene aesthetics. You got some Lampretti scooters and the old Ford Anglia cop cars and everything. It's going to really get you there. It's so great watching Emma Stone and Emma Thompson work together, right? They were a great duo. Two great Emmas faced off. I think they should have found a role for Hermione in there somewhere. We could have had Emma Watson. We could have had the Tri-Emma facing off against each other on the big screen, and that's a flick I'm down to check out. Only big question, the film didn't leave any big questions other than, are those damn dogs supernatural? I think that's the real story behind the flick, and I'm hoping maybe if they do make a sequel that we'll get to find out if the dogs are indeed supernatural, what their powers are. In the beginning of the movie, you see these dogs run from like 2 football fields away to attack this woman, Cruella's mom, and they jump on her, hit her in the chest, knock her over a sheer straight down cliff to her death. Yet the dogs somehow magically fly back up on the land and survive. So I think the dogs have powers. I think we're going to find out in the second flick. Come on, Craig, make it true.
Star Wars has only gotten better the further it's gotten away from the Jedi mythology. I don't care how big of a Star Wars fan you are, and I'm a huge one, it's hard to argue that Star Wars isn't as inconsistent as my ex-girlfriend's brain chemistry. Obi-Wan is coming out on Disney Plus soon, and the only question that show needs to ask is, how did that jackwagon learn to be a Force ghost? The biggest problem with Star Wars is that it's sloppy. It never had a plan to begin with, and this is what happens when you make things up as you go along. New Coke, Windows Vista, the Galaxy Note 7, Harley Davidson perfume. I'm not saying Star Wars is the United States Football League, but it's not very well thought out. Nothing's consistent. They burned Vader and Qui-Gon, but Yoda disappeared. So did Luke. And so did, you know who else? Obi-Wan, who didn't know how to do the thing in the first place. Look at dumb Vader stomping on it like he's on Penn and Teller's Fool Us. The big question is why Obi-Wan would hide the dude's kid on the same hillbilly dirt planet that he grew up on, at his uncle's house. Of course, you could say that Obi-Wan didn't know Vader was alive, and you could say that Vader didn't know he had kids, and that's what puts all the opera in the space opera. But if you were that confident, why'd you split them up in the first place? If you really thought you had marshmallowed their father, why even bother? I think he wanted to keep one safe just in case, and with Leia off playing princess, he used Luke as bait. Yeah, bait. He was just waiting on Vader, hoping he'd show up because he smelled Luke in the Force air, or however that works. He was like, man, I'm going to stay here till you show up, and then I'm going to whoop your ass. And if you don't show up, I'm going to teach your son to whoop your ass. Obi-Wan has some dirty pool in him. That's why he was so cocky on the Death Star. Strike me down. I already caramelized your ass once, bucket neck. I'm about to become stronger than you can ever imagine. And then he just closes his eyes and smiles like he just farted in an elevator. Which confuses stupid Vader. Let's watch that again. I'm hoping Obi-Wan answers a lot of this, because like it or not, Star Wars has more holes in it than the PGA Tour and Wilt Chamberlain's Black Book combined. Which just goes to prove you can love something and it still be totally stupid.
Let's do the news. First story out of the gate, James Gunn has announced that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to be the last Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm totally cool with. Don't beat that shit into the ground. Some things just gotta go. Here's what I'm not cool with. He also announced that there are going to be some, not just one, major deaths in the Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Why you gotta do that, bruh? Why? Like, you know why Endgame was so great? Because no one told us ahead of time that there are gonna be 2 major deaths in Endgame. No, that shit's gotta be a surprise, bro. Like, I get that you're taking your ball and going home, and I appreciate you not leaving these characters behind so Disney can just turn it over to Ang Lee or somebody else who's going to bastardize the brilliant work you've done. But come on, bruh. Don't do that, man. Don't give it to me like that. Give it to me in the theater. That's what we pay you for, bro. Second story I got. Kevin Smith, a notable comic book nerd and film buff, has announced his top 10 MCU films of all time. And number 10 was Doctor Strange, which I have it way higher than that, but I get that that's just me. I have done a lot of psychedelic drugs, and yeah, that's kind of like that's our Citizen Kane if you eat mushrooms. Number 9 was Captain America Civil War. I don't even know if it makes my top 10, but this ain't my top 10. Number 8, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm kind of cool with that being exactly where it is. You know what I mean? Number 7, Thor Ragnarok. Here we go. This is where I got to come at you, Kevin. That is way too low. As far as the standalone Avengers MCU movies goes, I have Ragnarok like right behind Iron Man 1. Number 6 is Winter Soldier, which I have right behind Ragnarok, actually. I don't know why you would put it that low. Number 5, Black Panther. I can't argue with that. It was a great movie. It was obviously the most visually stunning of the MCU flicks. Number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Again, not too upset with that. It's probably one of the funniest of the MCU movies. Number 3 and number 2 are Infinity War at 3 and then Endgame at 2. Now, I got problems with this for multiple reasons. First of all, I have those flipped. I think Infinity War was a better movie than Endgame, and here's why. The bad guy won, and that never happens. Like, not enough, you know what I mean? At the end of Infinity War, the bad guy won, and won in a really, really magnificent fashion, too. You know what I mean? So, I have it there. My other problem is, I'll just tell you right now, Iron Man makes number 1. I'll get to that in a minute. But my other problem is, when I rank the MCU movies, I don't include Avengers movies. It's a cheat code. Of course they're amazing. Everybody's in them. But if you're going to include Avengers movies, how in the wild fuck does Avengers 1 not even make your list, bro? Like, what are you watching? I understand Avengers 2 not making your list. Everybody hates it. I still kind of like it. But Avengers 1 doesn't make your list. Civil War does? Nah, bruh. You're doing life wrong. Number 1, as I said on his list, is Iron Man 1. Here's the thing. you can always tell how old an MCU fan is by where they rank Iron Man 1. Like, if you got a guy who loves these movies and he's in his 20s, Iron Man 1's probably going to be like, 6 or 7, whatever. But the second you get north of 40, none of us can just let it go, because that was the first time, well, one of the first times where they really, really brought our childhood to life, right? Not only well, but like better than we expected. And we were buckled in for everything MCU related right after Iron Man 1. But again, if you're over 40, you got that ranked high. And because I do too, and I'm 43. 27. But I have it ranked as my number 1 standalone. Ragnarok being my number 2. Winter Soldier would be my number 3. I agree with him. Guardians 1 at number 4. Black Panther at number 5. I probably put Doctor Strange at number 6. Then, yeah, Guardians 2 at 7. Maybe I do like Civil War more than I thought. I'm going to have to actually do this on another spoiler room. I am. Yeah. Maybe that'll be next week. But for now, if you excuse me, I got some shit to watch on Apple TV.